Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to another edition of Living World of Darkness, Werewolf in You. This scene finds Vale because looking for Tori while he is on the sept. Tori Vale is in a more somber mood. He seems to be in a very reflective state. Reflexive, like whatever. Basically just he's been keeping to himself a lot today. Not unfriendly, not even necessarily angry. He just looks very turned inwards. But he will take the time in his almost brooding state to find Katori. Katori would notice from the kinfolk as he approaches him that Vale is usually in one of three states. He is either happy and affable and being genial. He is either he's angry or he's brooding. It doesn't seem as though he is any of those three things today.
Ah, so he's in foolish mood. He's being foolish.
He appears to be in just almost a depressed state, a very sad state. And he'll kind of approach Katori carefully, not warily, just respecting his personal space and waiting for Katori to notice he's there.
So Katori, for his part, is doing what he has to do. He's doing keeper duty for 1 month. So pretty much, what he's doing right now is he is placing some cheese and some corn near a shrine of Great White Mouse, where a lot of denizens of the spirit are actually going between his paws to eat the sweet cheese and corn. And after taking care of the small mouse that apparently don't really mind going through the fur of the lupus, he just turns to see Vale, and he just takes one mouse out of his muzzle, because apparently one thinks that it's funny to be on a lupus muzzle, and put it back near the shrine. And he looks at you, doesn't really say anything, and starts to walk, making before brushing, his tail near your leg, pretty much saying, "Yeah, you can follow me."
He'll fall in step nearby.
And maybe you can make a perception, animal ken, or empathy if you wish.
3 successes.
Yeah, you see that Katori has changed a little bit. Generally, he's more happy-going, happy, wearing a mask of happiness. But right now, he seems very stern. He seems very stern and determined. His ears are perked up. His tail is in midsection. He is, yeah, he's a little bit different from his usual self.
He'll be cautious. But he'll basically follow along quietly, not making the small talk that he normally makes.
And yeah, once they arrive through near, pretty much a little bit near the kinfolk's houses, Katori will morph his vocal cords, and he just say, "So, you wanted to talk to me? I guess that's what you want, since you came here, unless you want my charming company."
As charming as your company is, it's a bonus to the fact that I do, in fact, need to talk to you. He'll sit down, cross-legged. I'm looking into the kinfolk of the Sept, and I've been doing several things recently to improve relations between Garou and kinfolk. But the human kinfolk of our kind are only one half of the equation. There are also wolf-born kinfolk, and I need to be as familiar with them as I am with the human-born kinfolk. And I would be doing a disservice to the nation and the position that I'm trying to create if I didn't learn more about the ways of the wolf and learn of the lupus-born kinfolk. Those of the Sept, those of the nation, learn more about them. They can't be misrepresented or not taken into account. They're just as much my concern as the human-born kinfolk are, if not more, because they suffer more. They've been neglected to an inexcusable point, and it's something that I also mean to correct.
Well, at least you learned something from our previous conversation, or should I say, rather, not you and me, but you and Screaming Eagle. That's the first step. We talked about such a position with the Warder and the Wormfoe. They both agree that kinfolk relationship with the Garou should be, how should I put it? We live as we live, but there are still incomprehension of some of our traditions, some of our beliefs, some of our way of thinking. What we were thinking about was to have a kinfolk representative with the Den Mother who would educate the younger Garou alongside the Den Mother about the kinfolks, but also help the kinfolk to understand the ways of the Garou. As for the lupuses, well, it's a little bit more complicated. But, well, if Smiles becomes Den Father, that would be a nudge in the right direction for a more prominent lupus influence. However, I wouldn't advise to make the kinfolk approach Smiles. At least, how I see things is the following: kinfolk needs to learn about the lupuses. We need to learn what it means to be a wolf-born and not a homid-born. And for that, I proposed to educate the kinfolk into the way of the wolves, to at least make them understand what it means to be us and how we are different, and that we shouldn't try to impose Hamid's way of thinking to someone who is not Hamid. Understanding on the way is something. Imposing ways on someone else is another thing. And then, however, and he looks at you, very seriously, even if after um, educating the kinfolks with lupus way of thinking, lupus traditions, if they still disrespect the wolves, then they will have to be accountable for what they did, just as anyone would be accountable for insulting another homid. Because ignorance can be a shield for a time, but if you know, then you cannot raise ignorance as a way to protect yourself from your own foolishness.
It's understandable.
For example, why did you eat Dragos? Explain to me in your own homid words what you were trying to achieve when you struck Dragos across the face while he was being challenged for dominance.
I wasn't really thinking, to be honest. When I saw him as threatening Xavier. When somebody threatens Xavier, I don't take well to that. But beyond that, right before that, you and Smiles and Dragos had been in communication. It seems as though Smiles was becoming a bit aggressive. I don't think the three of you. I understand that you understand that I don't understand you. And when you're speaking like that. But
okay, because just a detail, when you say I understand that you understand that I don't understand, you can see that his ears flattened a little bit.
Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that one again. You understand that I don't understand the speak of wolves. But I don't think sometimes you appreciate that. Or that you consider that could have effects on me that you don't realize. Or any human, for that matter. So when I see three wolves who are speaking to one another and who are agitated, and then one of them engages with a person that I consider to be a brother to me. So the three of you were in concert. I saw Xavier as needing my backing. He had three wolves, essentially, the possibility of three wolves. Because remember, we're basically taught our entire lives that wolves work in packs. Even if you are not a pack, wolves work in concert with one another. They work in unison. They're social animals.
All I can think right now is #lupus conspiracy.
I know, right? But he says, so when three wolves are communicating, and then one of them behaves aggressively towards a person I consider to be my brother, as close to me as what some would probably consider a packmate, then of course I'm going to react. Who would expect any less of me? Which is why I took the punishment. Which is why it's why I stood up for what I believe. Do I think that it was unwise for me to disrupt the challenge? Yes, in the sense that it created a greater affair than needed to be. But that doesn't mean I wouldn't do it again, or that I regret it in the sense. You know what I mean? It's Xavier. Maybe it wasn't right, but that doesn't mean that I was wrong. I'd fight for my brother. Even when he doesn't apparently need me to. Even when he doesn't apparently need me to.
Is Xavier still a Cleave?
Yes.
No, sorry, wrong term. Sorry.
Dragos.
No. Is Xavier still a Cub?
No.
He is a Cleave now. It means he is an adult. He needs to understand too that his actions bears consequences. He was ill-educated by I would have thought that having a Black Fury and a Children of Gaia as then parents would be a good solution, but I have to agree with Smiles. The lupus influence on this septi is too few. Because even when he spent time with us, it means that he didn't know, he didn't understand that to look another wolf in the eye is considered a challenge. This was a question of challenge for dominance. By looking at Dragos, who is Fostern, one rank above him, to us, lupuses, this is a clear, declared challenge, and this is why he, while you couldn't, while I entrance you with my flute to try and calm everyone, this is why Dragos was saying that he was giving him a chance to back down, because even Dragos understood that this was misguidance by ignorance. However, you need to understand that even if you think that your action was just, you need to understand that if you choose to interpose yourself with Garus when they are challenging each other, there will be consequences. You took the punishment, and you took a beating from Travis. An unfortunate one, but you took one. Things could be much worse. Things could have gone much worse. And this is why I think that you need to, well, first I would say that you're just like Andre. You need, you have rage issues. You need to work on your inner rage. Even if you're a kinfolk, you're burning with a passion. And sometimes passion makes us do ill choices.
I can understand that. I agree with you.
But for now, you know, at least, that if a lupus is looked into the eyes, like Xavier did, this is actually why I don't understand. You hobbits have dogs. You hobbits have other animals. And don't you know that looking a dog into the eye is a very bad idea? That
I don't like dogs.
Yes, but I'm talking rhetorically. Aren't hobbits supposed to know that looking at some animals in the eyes is seen as being threatening?
To my knowledge, to look a dog in the eye when you're disciplining them or you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
trying to convey obedience when you want them to do what you want them to do
Mm-hmm.
is not bad. But if you do it when you're playing or when you're not trying to discipline them or instill obedience in them, then it's bad. But again, I don't like dogs, so I like cats. I
Yes,
have a cat.
but he almost laughed when you say you like cat. And out of character, you don't know what. In character, you don't know why, but you probably guess why he would laugh at that mention.
No, I
Um,
just do.
but he says, yes, but you now you see, you actually you said that you didn't know that Dragos and Xavier were technically in a challenge, but instinctively you knew because you put the finger where the problem is. When you Hamid educate dogs, you assert dominance on them. You show them that you are the alpha. You are the one that leads, and that the dog is not the one who leads. He is beneath you. Instead, he must bow down to your supremacy over him. This is the same issue when you look a lupus in the eye, that you are one of the two is trying to assert dominance on the other one. So it's so you see you still on an maybe not an instinct level you knew, but you weren't conscious. You understand actually part of a problem, but you don't see it. Maybe you don't put the things together to understand, even if you have the knowledge, which is actually surprising to me. You were raised into a sept. Wasn't there any lupuses there?
Not many.
Hmm. I haven't met a lot of your tribe mates outside of Kali and Wasp Singer. But I don't really understand your tribe, if I'm being completely honest.
I
I don't
don't
really.
have a very high opinion of my tribe right now.
Hmm.
I've had people tell me before that I should have been born into the Shadow Lords. I can agree to that.
Yeah, well, sometimes being a Shadow Lord is not the most interesting thing. You can you can make another perception empathy.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
fucking successes.
yeah, you can definitely see that the mention of Shadow Lord has had the result of flattening his ears, and you can see that through his body language. Talking about Shadow Lords, and if Vale actually listens to the rumors around the camp, he can probably guess why why talking Shadow Lord might not be a good idea to Kotori right now.
He'll close his mouth.
However, and he takes a he takes a deep breath, looking to the horizon. For your answer, unfortunately, I can't um, make you understand the language of lupuses just like that. It is. I would find it a little bit harsh to expect lupuses to not speak their native language between each others. But I would suggest probably that you and maybe the other kinfolk, when we will try and make it work to pass more time around Lupuses or to see those moving pictures that you humans seem so fond of. Because what Homids might think that is aggression sometimes is rough play. It is sometimes hard to make a difference, but I will say it that it's true. I was playing with Dragos, but Smiles was not playing. It was a show of dominance. He has issues with Dragos. They fight a lot. They fight a lot to assert who is dominating who, because they are of the same status. When a wolf pack work as such as this, there is the alpha. It can be female, it can be male, it doesn't make a difference. The alpha is the one who leads, and you follow the alpha. There's no question. The alpha are twos always, male and female. One can be more dominant than the other, but this is not important or relevant here. And then there are the other wolves. They are the beta, who is, as you Hamid say, the right hand, or the second in command. And after that, there are different roles, but pretty much every wolf is equal, except the Omega. And among the other wolves who are equal, there are fights for dominance, to know who is above who. These things are very frequent. I don't know what goes through your Hamid head, because we don't think alike, even if I'm more adaptable than my brothers, compared to Smiles, for example. But I had a demonstration with a former packmate that indeed Lupuses and Hamid have a long way to cross. And even if my packmate couldn't really understand me, I'm a little bit skeptic about what the kinfolks can understand of me and the others, but I'm willing to try. I'm willing to give them an education, even if it means biting their ankles.
Could I possibly come and spend time with you and the other Lupus? Observe you, watch you?
Well, I would suggest rather not going with Smiles on that aspect. However, if he is there and you want to learn the proper Lupus way, there are things that you must understand about Smiles that you probably guessed. He's not fond of Homids. That's an understatement. However, his trip to Pangea changed slightly his point of view. He still doesn't like Homids. That's without questions. However, bear in mind that he expects proper respect. He is harsh in his education. But if you... And I know that considering his previous interaction with Sinna, and well, some of the other that he has witnessed and what I've witnessed of Express, it's going to be hard, but I would suggest rollover. If he provokes you, don't answer. It is difficult to be stepped upon. No one likes it. I don't like to be stepped upon. It hurts. Especially when you're stomped by a giant tree lizard. That hurts. But sometimes you've got to adapt to survive. I had to do things to survive in this Homid society, things that I personally despise and that I do not like. But I had to do it to adapt and survive. If you want truly to understand the way of the wolf, interacting with smiles in the night is inevitable. So I can be, as I said, a mentor and an educator for the kinfolks who wants and who will have to understand the lupuses, considering that there are more lupuses coming during those nights. But at one point, after I gave you lessons, and maybe these other lupuses gave you lessons, then your final test will probably be smiles in the night. Because I might be a, I will say nice, because I'm a nice lupus. But I will still, bite your ankle if you do something bad. However, Smiles will be more harsh in his judgment. That's why he will be, if he becomes then father, then he will be the one to tell if you truly understand how lupus work, and if indeed you have learned or if you need to learn more. But yes, I'll be here doing my duties as keeper for a little while, not a full moon cycle. But yes, if you want to learn more, I might be able even to take you on a hunt, or even socialize with other lupuses. Oh, also, because you homids give me that bad habit and I almost forget it, and I got smacked against a tree for that. Never, ever turn your head when a lupus is speaking to you. Never, ever turn your back, because that's disrespectful. When we are together and that you are living, I don't bear anything. I don't bear anything against you, and I don't think any lupus would bear anything, if you're retreating. But I would highly suggest, if you encounter Smiles, don't look in the eye, but don't look away. That's kind of tricky, but it's lupus etiquette. This is as much complicated as I see your plates and your shining object that you use to eat. It's as complicated as that.
Can I show you that I think I know what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
He'll stand up and he'll loosen like his palms, and he'll bring his eyes up, and instead of looking Katori in his eyes, he looks at his ear.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll focus on his ear instead of his eyes, so that he's looking at Katori, but not in his eyes.
And yeah, Katori cocks his head a little bit, looking, actually trying to, he's basically probably the first time since we started the conversation that you see that he's a little bit enjoying himself, because he's trying to catch your eyes, like making moves with his head, to try and keep you focused on not looking him in the eye.
Yeah, he's basically just gonna follow his ear.
And as he sees that you are following his ears, he's going to start to flicker them. Like
Then he'll
making-
move his gaze to his nose. He'll look at the tip of his nose instead.
And then he will approach. He will approach and say, "Do you know how we say good morning?"
He'll nod.
Ah, well, that would have been fun.
My uncle's a lupus, remember? That one I've learned.
Hmm.
But you can still do it. But yes, my uncle is a lupus.
No, if you know what I mean, there's no point.
I'm sorry.
And he just he nibbles you on the neck.
Give me a second. Hold on.
Mm.
I need to do something if he does that. Thank God for so many successes. Thank God. He doesn't react. He reacts like nicely. He'll smile. But it doesn't go to his eyes.
Yeah, I'm going to try. You had what? How many successes did you had on that roll?
5.
What was the rule? Was it to try and not do anything, like to appear like, yeah, I'm calm, or something like that, or?
Hold on a second.
Yep. Qu'est-ce que je cherchais moi? Ah oui. Right.
I typed it. I typed it. I typed what it was.
Okay.
That was the problem.
Make me I would say for the fun, make me a manipulation subterfuge to, for not Katori to understand, and I'll roll perception empathy.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, and just need to check that. Okay. So nope.
Sorry, Wolfie. You didn't notice.
Yeah. Too bad, because the difficulty was 3 for me. Thanks to a certain minor right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He seemed fun.
All right. So after seeing that, shows no reaction to the nibbling, he just pause and say, "So, now is the quickie question. Do you know what I just did?"
No.
All right. When someone nibbles you, especially if he's a lupus, it means that he is asserting dominance. He is basically saying, "I am above you in station." So there are, however, differences between nibbling and biting, but that one is easy because you start to bleed.
So what's the appropriate response?
The appropriate response is not punching the lupus on the face. That's one. However,
Nod.
Considering that, unfortunately, you are a kinfolk, the lupus will consider himself, a wolf will consider himself above you. But you can, if you know what you're doing, you can, you might try to challenge him for dominance, but I would strongly advise to know what lupus you're dealing with. Because for Smiles, if you go and challenge his dominance over you, then yeah, he will he will show his teeth and his claws. But more moderate, I would suggest, if you want to truly, and even that, it's complicated. I would have said go to Dragos and try and challenge him for a show of dominance, but he's faster now. He's Cliff no more. But yeah, it's a really complicated position for you. But you can, if you know that the lupus is not aggressive, I would say you can try and challenge the dominance, but you will have to be aware that since we are Garus, being dominated by a non-Garu might be problematic, and especially actually for now that he's starting to think a little bit. And even more, in fact, for Lupus rather than a Homid, because the Homid could actually kind of understand that you're two Homids, you're individual, you think by yourself, you don't think as a group. The problem that you will face with the Lupus is that when we go into the wild and that we face other lupuses, even those who are kin to us, we are the dominant one. We are Garus. There is no question. If this pack, for example, has an alpha, the alpha doesn't matter anymore. You're a Lupus Garu. You are dominating the pack, and that's without a question. Except if there is another Lupus Garu. So I would honestly, unless you truly want to challenge a lupus and be ready to face the consequence of a challenge, that would. But I would say make sure that it is only a challenge of dominance, and even that, I mean, you don't really. Lupus are complicated to Homids, because I've seen Homids eat each other and laugh and then keep being friendly. Lupuses have the same idea, but we are, as Lewis once said, we are wild card. You can never truly know how a lupus will react. So I would say, if you feel that the assertance of dominance is not something that you would accept from this lupus, then try to find a way to work around that, to try and assert yourself not as an Omega, but pretty much. And you can actually see that he would, if he was Homid, he would probably message his temples.
He's listening very closely. He's going to take his hands, and he's going to cup Katori's like muzzle, like not his muzzle, like here, like his jaws, and he'll kind of scratch him like softly, like playing with him, and then he'll to show that he kind of understands, he'll lean in and nibble his ear. That was just the first available spot.
Okay.
Not hard, just
but Katori is going to look at you deadpan, and he's going to jump on you. He doesn't growl. But yeah, he jumps on you. He
He's doing
jumps on
something. Don't worry. He knows what he's doing.
yeah, yeah.
Well, he thinks he knows. Okay, he's doing something, and you haven't reached the point yet where the point has gotten to.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
yeah, he jumps on you, and with all his well uh weight, because he's probably lighter, way lighter than Vale is. But
hmm
yeah, he you can see that his ears are flattened a little bit. Not he doesn't have a purely aggressive demeanor, but he has a very serious look on his face, and he says, uh, "Don't. When when you want to play with me, I let Hamid's kinfolks do that because they are kinfolks. I like kinfolks, but remember that now I am. I'm not the Kotori that I used to be now. I'm not just the better of the pack, I'm the alpha now. I can't be allowed to show submission to anyone, even my friends." And he just, he bring his muzzle back, and he nibble your nose, like, ah. It's
it seems
it's
it seems
gentle,
as though that what he
but
was going for.
mm, it's gentle, but yeah. And then he just gets out of he gets up from theirs and say,
Oh wait, hold on a second. I just realized something.
"Mhm,
Hold on. You said he nibbled his nose, right?
yes."
Hold on 1 second. Okay, give me
hmm
1 second. Okay, you notice Vale wince, and like he kind of goes ah, but he doesn't like.
And yeah, he
Kotori would notice his nose is broken.
mm, what happened to your nose?
I got headbutted. But it seems as though Vale did that for a reason, and it was to see if he could submit in a way that Kotori would accept,
Mm,
and that he knew how to submit properly.
mm. And also, now that he looks at you, and he pats your chin, to get up. You also have to show your throat. However, it's to roll over is one thing. Sure, it works. Showing the throat also is a sign of respect, that you acknowledge that one is in position above you. If rolling over is too much for you, you can show your throat. But
He'll tilt his head back.
mm, but if things get heated, he just goes near your ear and whisper, "Roll the fuck over." Yay, catchphrase. And I'm just going to look at something real quick. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm, okay. He's going to look at you and say, "Do you want me to heal it?"
If you'd be so kind.
Okay. Then Kotori is going to channel Mother's Touch. And, yeah, you can feel the pain going away, as also if Vale looks at him in the mirror, he will probably see that the mark on his nose that would have been left when the nose broke will not be there anymore.
Kind of touch it. Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And with that, Kotori gets up and pats you on the head. Right, lesson's over. I'm going to keep going to my duties. And yeah, I believe I have your Weaver number. If you wish, I'll call you, or you'll find me if you want to learn more.
I'll be at the
Or
set.
I'll find you.
Yeah.
And with that, Kotori just nods in his direction and then gets back into the sept to keep focusing on his keeper duties.
Vale will turn around, and he'll walk across the grounds with his hands tucked into his pocket, kind of thinking quietly to himself. And it would be noticed that he goes over to something that's growing in the ground, and he plucks something up out of the soil and tucks it into his pocket and keeps walking. And with that, we can end our scene. So, wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.